When judicial corruption arises, there are always lawyers involved, and so the IBA and our national bars have a particular responsibility to do what we can to eliminate it. Judicial integrity is so important for a couple of reasons. First of all, unless the judiciary is itself corruption-free, it's impossible to eliminate corruption at other levels of government, because there would always be an out when a government official or others are prosecuted for corruption. Second, it's the part of government that most touches individual citizens.
I think the IBA understands very well from its work background that access to justice is absolutely fundamental. If you don't have access to the judiciary, you're cut off from any kind of public goods, and on top of it, the problem is that the trust in the institutions goes.
We launched the Judicial Integrity Initiative to build on other anti-corruption efforts of the IBA. The project's key objectives are, first of all, to understand at the root level how judicial corruption arises, what actually happens in circumstances around the world, and then to develop some very concrete action plans.
The Legal Policy and Research Unit has actually been involved with the Judicial Integrity Initiative since its foundation, working very closely with the President David Rivkin in terms of developing the framework and the structure. There are a number of phases to the Judicial Integrity Initiative. The very first phase is the one we're currently implementing, and that comprises, first of all, the expert panels meeting.
We held meetings with experts in both London and Singapore. The experts included 8 judges from every continent on the world, including several chief justices. It also included leaders of civil society organizations who've been fighting corruption in the judiciary and otherwise, as well as individual practitioners. We were able to understand what efforts have already been made to fight judicial corruption and how the IBA could play a special role. We have now worked with the Basel Institute of Governance in developing a survey that has been sent to all IBA members and to the members of our national bar organizations to understand how judicial corruption arises. Does a judge ask for a bribe? Is a middleman involved? Is it the staff that principally directs the corruption? Do lawyers simply expect to have to make a payment?
The hope is that we would know far more about the concrete mechanics of it.
Groups like the World Justice Project and Transparency International have done a lot of very valuable work that we're really trying to complement. The IBA, though, is in a unique position because we are the global voice of the legal profession and we have extensive networks through our membership. We felt that it was best placed actually to draw on that network of legal professionals in order to engage directly with judges, lawyers, prosecutors, court staff, and civil society. Between us, I think we can put together a complete story. The outcome of that survey, as well as the research, will culminate in what we're calling a typologies report. That essentially is a collection of information about the weaknesses we've identified.
We thought it was important to go beyond the survey results and have 3 in-country consultations where we could speak with judges, lawyers, staff, and others involved in the judicial system, as well as civil society, to understand how judicial corruption arises. We were very pleased to have chief justices from Mexico, Nigeria, and the Philippines involved in our expert meetings, and they each invited us to come to their countries to do the in-country consultations. They are working hard to eliminate corruption in those countries. There are particular challenges, and so we thought not only could we learn a lot of information from in-country consultations in those countries, but we could also aid them in their anti-corruption efforts.
The main challenge I see really is the appointment process. Once you have the proper person for the job, corruption will not arise. It just won't happen. So that's the challenge.
And the next phase will actually mean that we conduct or engage in further in-country consultations with other members of judicial systems to identify what it is that we need to address those weaknesses in communications between all the different members of judicial systems.
When the IBA approached me about this possibility, I thought that the IBA could help encourage lawyers in the country to approach this issue with as much openness of mind, being willing to admit the role that the bar can play in fostering a culture of honesty, but at the same time saying that they are key actors in demanding accountability. The problem of corruption, in my experience, requires a menu of solutions being applied at all levels, from the time that the law school curriculum is being designed. There is no strong institutional mechanism that will allow us to get the hard evidence that we need to follow the money. The second threat is that there will be a misunderstanding of my own motivation and the motivation of the IBA. Some may believe that you are trying to be too idealistic. I set those reservations aside and I try to engage in a conversation with as many stakeholders as possible and to show them small successes that have already been gaining ground. I have every confidence that at the end of the day, we can somehow help each other. The IBA can also learn a lot, maybe, from the exposure it might have in the Philippines.
Lo es en muchos sentidos, fundamentalmente para ganar la confianza social. En este gran entramado de jurisdicciones que existen en México, les repito, hay algunas muy sólidas, con gran prestigio, a las que se acude con confianza, pero hay otras que no lo son. Y aquí el nivel más alto de corrupción, el más bajo en calidad, es el que nos jala a todos. He comparado el tema de la honestidad judicial con el de la sanidad del aire y comentaba yo que en el Distrito Federal el aire no nos había preocupado nunca hasta que se volvió un verdadero problema la contaminación ambiental. Ahora medimos el grado de contaminación, se creó una unidad especial de medición que se llaman IMECAS, para medir la calidad del aire. Igual creo yo que sucede con el ambiente judicial. Cuando tengamos verdaderos referentes que midan la contaminación o la pureza del ambiente judicial, se genera confianza y la confianza siempre trae consecuencias positivas para la nación.
This is the proper time now, it's apt for judiciary now to now look inwards, do its own self-cleansing, and then jump on board with the change of the government in place to make Nigeria a much better place than what it is. And I'm sure with this initiative coming at this time, it is just opportune. Luckily, we have a very, very virile Nigerian Bar Association. They are our spokespersons. They fight for the judges, and they're doing a brilliant job of doing this. So this is one more thing that they need to learn, so they're able to talk to their members to desist from such acts and desist from encouraging their clients to think that way.
There is no magic wand in terms of actually achieving the outcomes we're hoping to achieve here. It just takes the sheer determination by those who are within the system.
It takes a generation to change a culture, and the generation, they say, is 24 years. I have only 18 years, but maybe I can make a dent.
I'm very hopeful that we'll learn a lot. And I'm very hopeful that, if we open up our minds and accept that we do have this problem, and we imbibe what the consultant tells us or what they find at the end of the day in their report, I think it will go a long way to making our judiciary stronger than it is now.